This one's short. Who is this?
Am I under arrest?
For now.
I'm under arrest?
Yeah, I'll explain everything, but before I explain myself to you, we talk.
Like, yeah, you're under arrest, dude.
Okay.
What am I under arrest for?
Well, like I said, I need to read your rights first. Obviously, the charge is robbery, okay? Yeah, I'll explain everything.
I'm under arrest for robbery?
You are, but let me read your rights real quick, okay?
He seems real nonchalant.
Okay? Let me do that real fast? All right, Jeff. Can you read with me? Just read in your head, okay? Before we ask you any questions, you must understand what your rights are. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be used against you in the court of law. Does that make sense? You've probably heard these before, haven't you? Does that make sense? Did you understand your rights? Did you understand your rights, Jeff? Understand what I read you? Did you comprehend what I read you? Jeff, I'm just here to talk to you and figure out
Not
what
complying.
happened. Move you on out of here and release Summit. So do you understand the rights I read to you?
Hmm.
If you got something that says you didn't do this robbery, this is your chance to talk to us.
Okay, good cop.
No, usually I'm the prick.
You look like the prick.
Oh. He has no
This
intention
is
of
Jeff.
helping them out.
Jeff is a heroin addict and has been for the last 14 years. He is 6'5", weighs 153 pounds, and has now found himself in the unfortunate circumstance of being charged with armed robbery. This is in the state of Georgia, so if found guilty, they will render him the minimum term of 10 years without parole, up to the maximum term of life in prison. Jeff has been through the system multiple times over, and he will know that if indeed found guilty, his sentence will be considerably longer than the minimum 10 years due to his previous convictions.
Jeff, do you understand your rights? Yes or no? I'm not asking if you want to talk to me at this point. I just wanted to know, do you understand what I read to you?
So am I under arrest?
Yes, you're under arrest.
Get me back to the cell. I don't talk to you motherfuckers.
Okay, fair enough.
Wow.
You want a Coke?
Now he's back.
You gonna be able to pop it open or you need me to?
Jeff has become somewhat of a cult figure in the domain of interrogation footage. His recognition seems to have grown through his own popularity, as opposed to the notoriety of his crimes, like most others.
Obviously, he's not a good person. You know what I mean? Now he's being convicted for armed robbery. But, I don't know that the prison system is equipped to help a person out like this.
Conveying the exact reasoning behind this can be tricky, as the interest in this character will no doubt vary by the individual. Yet we've found the most collective reason can be explained through a single pop culture reference: the anti-hero. While the concept is timeless, the actual term was created through the realm of modern cinema. There's a diverse number of characters passing through the decades that fit the criteria. Yet perhaps the most textbook example could be the protagonist from the 2003 feature Bad Santa, a middle-aged man simply known as Willie. This is a character that lies, cheats, steals, swears at children, drinks an inconceivable amount of alcohol, and is generally extremely unpleasant to every single person he comes across.
Look who's here, Jimmy. It's Santa.
Oh, fucking great.
Let's tell him what you want for Christmas.
I'm on my fucking lunch break, okay?
On paper, this is an extremely unlikable individual.
That was a good movie.
Yet for some reason, we root. So you might be curious about the contrast between the anti-hero and the villain. One we embrace and relate to, while the other we despise and detach from. Both are driven by selfish motivations, yet our emotional response differs between them. The reason for this, while not necessarily obvious, is a relatively simple formula. The anti-hero must have a glimmer.
Before I let him continue that sentence, I gotta say, again, these are super well written. It's not just that they're explaining it to us, it's the way they're explaining it to us. It's really good. And I feel like the guy who's saying it as well is, I feel like I've heard him in other documentaries as well.
Of humanity, alongside a noticeable vulnerability. This is what allows the viewer to truly connect with the character. It allows us to forgive them when they are unethical, but admire them when they are noble. It allows them to be angry, cowardly, and greedy, but also cheerful, brave, and empathetic.
Who the fuck is Thurman? Is that you? Is your name Thurman?
Yeah.
Thurman
Thurman
Merman.
Merman.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Unlike the clean-cut, one-dimensional hero of mainstream culture, an anti-hero is not only more realistic, but far more likely to resonate with the viewer. They resemble ourselves, and remind us not only of the ambiguous morality of existence, but also the possibility of redemptive change. With relation to Jeff, while many of us can't relate
just
to
about
the
to ask,
feeling
what
of
does
being
that have to do with
addicted
this
to
guy?
heroin for well over a decade, we can certainly understand the feeling of sadness. While we may not be able to put ourselves directly in the shoes of an addict, we can somewhat relate to the adversity that comes with it, not to mention the incredible magnitude of the situation he is going through in this video. How he responds to this very moment is quite literally the precursor to his entire future. He is at a crossroad moment in life, where on one side is the possibility of hope, and on the other side is the outright guarantee of despair. The long-term path he goes down will be the consequences of the short-term choices he makes, all of which have to be judged and decided on while going through the early stages of heroin withdrawal.
I need methadone.
You need methadone?
Yeah, you guys can get me that methadone.
I don't have any. Do you have medication for it, or a prescription for it? Or?
No,
What do you need methadone for?
because I'm a fucking junkie, and you guys, I can't get no methadone. I'm gonna go through withdrawal here in a minute.
Where do you usually get your methadone from?
I don't get it. I get heroin.
This guy, obviously, he's been through the system before. So he's had his fair share of, or enough of his share of the system. He's probably in a lot of trouble. He probably can't hold down a job. He probably got in deep with some, dude trying to get some heroin.
Not my friend.
I'm not your friend.
You're trying to fucking get me. Or you're
No,
trying
I'm not trying to get
all
you.
you're trying to get is some fucking stupid ass fucking confession, and you're not gonna get one.
Jeff, I'm not going to get a confession out of you for nothing.
Exactly, because I
And
didn't
I'm
do
not
nothing.
trying to get a confession out of you.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't commit no armed robbery, and y'all ain't got no fucking evidence saying I did. Let me go. All you did is find me sitting in my buddy's house because my fucking buddy's dog's going ape shit. I go outside, there are cops everywhere, and they spotlight me. They say, "Come here." I say, "What's up?" They search me. They ain't
Hang
find
on.
nothing. What's
Let
up?
me read this.
No,
Yes.
because I'm not gonna sign it.
You don't have to sign it. But let me read it for you. Okay?
I'm not signing nothing.
You don't have to sign it. Let me read it.
And all
No,
while
read
going
it
through
to me
withdrawal.
I know we did, but I'm going to read it to you again.
Thanks for the coke.
You're welcome. Before we ask any questions, you must understand what your rights are.
And here we have our glimmer of humanity. It may seem like a non-essential moment, yet sometimes the smaller things can reveal the most. Jeff extends his gratitude in recognition of the small favor the detective has done for him. There is no return benefit for Jeff giving thanks to his adversary, meaning there is an element of selflessness and grace in the act. There may be considerable emphasis on the glimmer of humanity here, but all we need is a glimmer to know that it's at least in there.
You have the right to remain silent. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one, a lawyer will be provided for you. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand the rights I've explained to you?
No.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
He
Tell
actually
me what
agreed.
happened
Okay.
last night. Plain and
Progress.
simple. Your side of the story.
If you're saying you didn't do it, you need to give me your side of the story.
I didn't do it.
Okay, well, give me your side of the story.
He specifically asked for the coke too at the
You gotta,
beginning.
convince me.
Is that a fairy
Because
tale?
I got a lot of evidence. I got a lot of physical evidence.
Well, like what? Name the physical
Well, I don't
evidence.
need to, why should I tell you that? I mean, you haven't been helpful to me at all.
You don't, because I don't believe that you got any evidence.
There's only a couple pieces of evidence I'm missing.
Name them.
What's that?
Name
Why do I need to do that?
them.
You haven't helped me out at all. You give me a little bit, I give you a little bit. We go back and forth. I give you one of my pieces of evidence, now give me a little something.
No, anything I say here can and will be used against me.
Sure, but anything you say here, I can also tell your parole officer that you helped me out.
That doesn't mean dick. There's no way. I didn't do it. There's no way.
How drunk were you? Were you drunk?
No, I was pretty sober.
So you're in your right mind. You remember everything about the night, right? So you couldn't have done something not remembered. You couldn't have gone and robbed the place and not remembered?
Fuck, no.
Okay, so you would remember if you robbed the place. So I'm willing to go to the prosecutor, I'm willing to go to the parole officer and say, this guy's a good guy, he helped me out. He didn't do anything. I know you don't want to go back to jail, right? Back to prison?
Well, fuck, it looks like I am if and you're going to charge me with some bogus shit. You guys don't, I mean, what do you got, really? That I was at a buddy's house and I happened to come outside because you guys were fucking swarming the area and they
Which door did you come out of?
I came out of the front door. You know what? I'm not saying myself, man. I'm done, man. Fuck this.
Wait, they don't go over the pieces of evidence that they gave him. I thought they were supposed to be helping each other. But I guess at the end of the day, the officer is just trying to, like, poke and prod to see if he can get a confession. Some sort of confession.
The reason I came up here is to get a fucking Coke.
Okay. You're not getting out.
Oh, no. I can't finish it?
You can finish it. Make it quick. I got things to do.
Butterfinger, you promise.
I didn't promise you that. I said we'd see what happens. All right? Like I said, you haven't helped me out at all. Why should I help you out? I got you a soda. That's good enough.
He said, what about the
Jeff
Butterfinger?
was released from custody just under 12 hours later. And that takes us to the final and perhaps the most important component of an anti-hero, the conclusion, which unfortunately in this particular case is unknown. The final outcome of this story will vary depending on the source, some with a happy ending, others a cautionary tale. One legend has it that Jeff got clean soon after his release and now works in the corporate marketing team for Coca-Cola, while another states that he was picked up the day after for the same charge and is now facing down a 15-year sentence in Georgia State Prison. If we go by the Hollywood formula, an anti-hero's actions throughout the course of their life are so drastic and single-minded that they only ever lead to salvation or destruction, and their final decision is always dictated by what they have learned and how they have changed throughout the course of the story. The paradox here is that we don't even need the theme of imprisonment to mold the outcome of this particular story, as the theme of addiction is more than enough. Whether he goes to prison or not, Jeff will either manage to get clean and rebuild his life, or he won't. He is headed for salvation or destruction no matter what, and that single concept can perhaps define Jeff as an anti-hero. His outcome is a mystery, but either way it goes, it most certainly conforms to the anti-hero's ending.
Santa!
Yeah.
You're bringing my present early?
No.
But I never told you what I wanted.
I said I didn't bring it, dipshit.
Okay, good. I want a stuffed elephant. A pink one.
Well, wish in one hand, shit in the other one. See which one fills up first.
See, that was really, really well written. Dope. And they're coming out with content pretty regularly, I would say, to because of